Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. This is Who Did You Boycott today? I am getting ready to turn in for the night, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna let this broadcast continue to run or go to my pre-recordings. But before I close it out, I want to make it very clear that Peter cultivating Sir Ludwig, the general, and Rush, and all racist human beings that are walking around on two legs, you identify yourself as soon as you open your mouth and start talking. Peter got the balls to get on Twitter spaces that are hosted and co-hosted by brown and dark brown skinned human beings, and y'all folks just let him sit there comfortably and interact with you. I am confused. I am totally confused that this racist man that take every opportunity, that co-host with Dana, that love the great debater Twitter space, that love re-up Twitter space. Have you folks suffered amnesia? Because you must have suffered amnesia because you are way too comfortable interacting with these racist human beings. You claim you want justice. You claim you are witnessing the injustice and mistreatment and suffering. But then you take every opportunity to sit on a public app and conversate with the very human beings who are helping the system stay in place. Peter is a prime example of why the society and the environment that each one of us are experiencing has been working like a well-oiled machine for hundreds of years. So I don't quite understand why you adults are so comfortable interacting with these racist human beings, because there's no such thing as white supremacy. There's no such thing as white supremacy. The only thing that is a reality is individuals like Peter and Cultivated and Sir Ludwig and the General who have made sure this sick environment has lasted for hundreds of years. Because they are individuals who implement the racism, that implement the discrimination. There's no imaginary white supremacy. These are individual human beings breathing and eating and sleeping. Breathing and eating and sleeping human beings walking around on two legs that are making sure this racism and this discrimination and this suffering is continuing day after day. That has continued for decades and decades and decades and centuries. So y'all can stop running around here talking about white supremacy, and then you run around and talk about the Jews. You folks outnumber the Jews. You do know how to do the math. Your population outnumber the Jews. Your population has outnumbered the Jews for centuries. So why are you on a public app crying and blaming the Jews when your population outnumber their population? Please explain that. Will someone please explain that? How in God's name do adults wake up day after day and blame the Jews? And definitely they are doing their evil. As far as I can evaluate, y'all are competing. Y'all are in a competition. You folks are in a competition. Who can be the evil one? The most evil. You folks have been in a competition for centuries. Now, because you are starting to feel the pain, now you don't came up with another favorite word, unity. Where was the word unity during 246 years of Negro slavery? Where was the word unity for 246 years that Negroes were slaves? Where was that word unity? Where was the word unity when 1865 up until 1965, Negroes had to wake up day after day and be threatened to be hung to death. They had to wake up day after day and be threatened to be burnt alive. They had to wake up day after day and be threatened to be lynched. Where was the word unity then? Where was it? Where was the unity from 1965 up until more recent? Well, now that you evil human beings who have been comfortably living in your little perfect world, your little perfect bubble, now that you have been living in your little comfortable world since 1865 up until 2020, I say 2020. I think it all started crashing down about then for sure. Your folks were quite comfortable in your little perfect world of racism and discrimination from 1865 all the way up for sure to 1965 when they came out with a diabolical plan called integration. So now you want to cry about unity because you are being impacted. But before you started being impacted, the word unity never came out your mouth. But now that this little precious America has been invaded by other invaders, so the invaders are being invaded. Now, they little precious America is being taken over. Their little precious world has crumbled to the ground. The illegal immigrants and the legal immigrants almost outnumber you. They almost outnumber you now. So now some of you want to cry to the Negroes. The Negroes and reclassified Black Americans and melanated immigrants only make up 48 million. It's 337 million human beings walking around in America. So you deduct 48 million, which is 5 million of that 48 million are melanated immigrants. Only 5 million. Since 1820, America has only let in 5 million melanated immigrants. Go look it up. Go look it up. Do your own research. They have only allowed 5 million melanated immigrants since 1820. All the other ones make up a different population. They're not melanated. That is evil being exposed. You can't lie about that now. You cannot lie about that because folks can do the research. You got clear proof of evil right in front of your face and my face. That out of all these immigrants that have come to America, only 5 million have been melanated immigrants. That's clear proof of evil. Shameful. Evil. And now it's backfiring. Now it is backfiring And you folks gonna have to figure this out for yourself. You're gonna have to figure this one out for yourself because of your evil and greed. It backfired. It backfired. And now each one of us have a front row seat. Each one of us have a front row seat of this invasion takeover. How you like that? How you like that? I don't think you like it too much, do you? I don't think you like it that much. That's why you're on these social media apps crying all day. That's why you wake up day after day and spend precious time off your life crying about this invasion. Well, you need to go cry to the president. You need to go cry to the vice president, and you need to go cry to the Congress, and you need to go cry to the Senate, and you need to go cry to the oligarchy. You need to go cry to BlackRock, and you need to go cry to Rockefeller, and you need to go cry to the cartels, the corporations, and the banks. Because the Negroes and reclassified Black Americans don't have any ownership over industry. They not writing the policies and legislation. They don't have ownership over industries. They don't have any say in the policies and legislation that has been passed since the beginning. Do they? They little small population of 43 million plus 5 million. It's not even a drop in the bucket. So you can't blame that one on the Negroes. That's one you're not going to be able to paint the narrative that they are to blame because their population is a drop in the bucket. Deducted from 337 million. See how evil exposes you? You see clear proof of how evil can get exposed when folks are least expecting it. They are least expecting it, and there it is. One day they just wake up and it's smack dab in their face. America got a major problem on their hands. They wanted immigration to be a weapon against Negroes and reclassified Black Americans and melanated immigrants, and it backfired. It has backfired, and I am taking great pleasure in watching it. I am taking great pleasure in watching it so you can forget about this word called unity. The only unity that you need to be saying out your mouth is that you are ready to get out of Jamaica. You are ready to pack up your suitcase and disappear from Jamaica and leave the people in Jamaica alone. That's the only unity word. That's the only time that you need to be saying the word unity. If you're not saying unity and we are going to leave Jamaica, we are going to leave Haiti, we are going to evacuate, and we are going to disappear from Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, Africa, Libya, all the brown nations. Don't bother to say the word unity. Because these folks are still suffering. They are still being destabilized. They are still being made slaves while you are comfortable on your little social media app saying the word unity. The Negroes don't want to hear a word called unity. Not until that debt is paid. Not until that debt is paid that's owed to the Negro ancestors and their descendants. Don't bother saying the word unity. Don't bother writing it. Don't bother saying it. Don't bother writing it. Don't bother saying it. Because it's delusion. You are living in a very, very delusional world, and God is going to take care of each one of you. God has already started judgment on America and around the world. You're too late. You are too late to cry unity now. All you good folks, all you good adults who love to say this word, we just all need to unify. We just all need to unify. We got the same enemy. We are all suffering. We are all being mistreated. We got the same enemy. We all suffering. We got the same enemy. And we just all need to unify. Y'all folks like living in a delusional world. You folks like living in a delusional world while you march around and cry about all of this evil, and you clearly know that the young babies and the young children are waking up in a hostile environment while y'all comfortably sit on a public app and cry and vote and donate to your own demise. But you comfortable. You get to have those perks. You get to have those inside connections. You get to have those comfortable jobs. So all is right in your world. But that child is walking out into a hostile environment every second of the day. While y'all adults open Twitter spaces after Twitter spaces after Twitter spaces and talking till you pass out. When you clearly know the only answer is a boycott. That's the only equalizer. That's the only equalizer against evil and corruption and money greed. That's the only answer, but you don't have the backbone to do it. You have all the energy in the world to get up day after day and talk about it, but you don't have the backbone to boycott every second of the day. How hard is that? How hard is it for you to boycott Twitter? How hard would it be for you to boycott Facebook? How hard would it be for you to boycott Instagram? How hard would it be to boycott Clubhouse? How hard would it be to boycott TikTok? How hard would it be to boycott YouTube? Don't you think it's worth your child and my child's life? Don't you think it's worth each of our life? I guess you folks don't think it's worth it because you don't have the motivation to boycott. So why keep talking about it? Why keep talking about it? Why keep talking about it? Because the oligarchy is not going nowhere. The BlackRock is not going nowhere. They love money too much. The Rockefellers are not going nowhere. They love money too much. The cartels are not going nowhere because they love money too much. The Jews are not going nowhere because they love money too much. So the only equalizer is a boycott, but you don't have the backbone to do it. But God is not going to forgive us. God is not going to forgive us for this. You folks need to come to grips with that reality. God is not going to forgive us for allowing these children to be harmed this way. Us adults, we deserve whatever we get. We deserve whatever we get. But those innocent children don't deserve it. And God is not going to forgive us for that. Y'all folks can stop living in your little fantasy world. You can stop living in your little fantasy world because God is waiting on each one of us. And you have the power, and I have the power to boycott this country and this world and demand justice every second of the day. That's our God-given right. That's our God-given right. And you folks are allowing this environment. You are allowing it to continue day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And I don't understand why that's the case. My mother started teaching me at a young age about boycotting. I can remember the days when we would walk into a furniture store. We would walk into Sears, J.C. Penney, Kimball's. My mother would say, go get me a person with brown and dark brown skin to wait on me. I want that individual to get my commission. So my mother started grooming me at a very young age. She clearly understood the power of your dollar. She clearly understood your dollar power and how to utilize it to demand your justice and your self-respect. So she started grooming me at a very young age. I thank God that my mother understood her dollar power. She understood her dollar power, and she exercised it every day of her life. My mother was a coupon queen. She could walk into a store with coupons and not have to spend a penny. She was an expert at it. She understood how to stretch that dollar. So I definitely inherited a lot of her example. I thank God for that. And I don't quite understand why you adults wake up day after day and allow this to continue. Why you can continue to want to run around and talk about voting. Why you keep running around talking about running candidates. Why you keep running around talking about donations. Why you keep running around talking about protesting and marching. When the root of the problem is money. The root of the evil is money. The root of the suffering is money. The root of the crime is money. And the only answer to that is a boycott. Call me a liar. Someone send me some information if they have a better answer. If they have a better answer than that, then send it to me, please. And I will promote it. Because I've been on this earth for 63 years, and I have evaluated it and dissected it and analyzed it upwards and sideways, and that's the only answer. So I want to make it very clear. Y'all can forget about this word called unity. There's no such thing as unity when human beings are in Jamaica suffering. There's no such thing as unity when human beings are in Haiti suffering. There's no such thing as unity when human beings are in the Bahamas, in Africa, Congo, Sudan, and on and on. And Negroes in America are suffering. There's no such thing as unity when those individuals only make up 48 million of the total population. So it's going to take those other million human beings to make correction if they want the environment that each one of us wake up to every day. It's going to change. Because that little 48 million cannot change that environment. But those other millions, they can change it. They do have the ability to change it. Because they have the numbers in their favor. They have the numbers in their favor so they can make the correction if they have the motivation to do it. But they don't. That's why each one of them deserves to be rejected. They need to have a dose of rejection every day they wake up until they make that correction. The same way my mother raised me to hold myself accountable, to treat every human being the way I want to be treated. My mother clearly made sure that I understood that. So every day that I have been on this earth, I have treated other human beings the way I want to be treated. No one had a gun to my head and forced me to do that. I made that choice myself because my mother made sure I understood that. In spite of the racist world that I was growing up in spite of the discriminating world that I was growing up in, my mother made it very clear that treat other human beings the way you want to be treated. So those other million human beings can make that correction anytime they feel like doing it. They can make that correction when they're sitting in their living room, when they're in their kitchen, sitting around a table, when they're in the backyard. They can make that correction if they have the motivation to want to do it, but they don't. So they are entitled to rejection. That's the equalizer for racism. That's the great equalizer for racism and discrimination and suffering. Rejection. When you walk out in public, don't even look at them. When you are talking to them, don't even talk to them. Don't even engage in a conversation. See, human beings, one thing that all of us human beings have in common, we do not do well with rejection. Why do you think that's the case? God wanted one thing on earth that all human beings could relate to. And rejection is that equalizer. That's the great equalizer. That's how we can demand a functioning society. That's how we fight for a functioning society against good and evil, by utilizing rejection. That is how each one of us are kept checked, because none of us, not one of us, like rejection. How powerful that word is, rejection. I don't have to talk to you. I do not have to have a conversation with you. If you don't want to respect me, if you don't want to respect me as a human being, I do not have to talk to you. Whether that's in person or whether that's on a social media app, I do not have to talk to you. I do not have to carry on a conversation with you. I do not have to acknowledge you when I walk out in public. I don't have to look at you. See how that works? You see how perfectly that works? Because it was meant to be an equalizer. Because God knew that human beings were flawed. All of us are flawed. We are all flawed. We are all flawed. And we all can be we are all impacted by evil. It's a daily battle, the fight against good and evil that's inside of each one of us. Some of us do a good job of being honest and compassionate human beings while we're here. But it's a constant battle between good and evil. Sometimes the numbers are 52% those who are evil and 48% those who are good. And so they get outnumbered. Folks sell out, folks compromise, they compromise, they compromise, they compromise, they compromise, and they trudge along with their daily life. I look back over my life, and I thank God that I never had to do that. I don't know why I got lucky, but I never had to compromise my standards and my character. Maybe it was I got lucky. Maybe I had enough human beings around me who was watching over me. I think most of the honor go to my mother and to God that my life on this earth has had its ups and downs. It's had ups and downs just like each one of us. But I don't think I ever had to compromise my standards and my values and my character. There was a lot of challenges in the military. I can't deny that. There were many a days when I had to make the choice between going along with the good old boys club or standing my ground. Do I go along with the good old boys club today? Do I make a decision to stand my ground? Well, my warrant officer told me one day at a meeting that I had chose the wrong career. All because I spoke up in the meeting. It was downright pitiful. It was downright pitiful that this person response to me was to tell me that I had chose the wrong career because I had spoke up about us changing our working schedule every week. That our body could not function if we changed schedules every week. That it made more sense for us to go to a schedule that we stayed on for 30 days instead of changing our schedule every 7 days. That it made more sense to change our schedule every 30 days. So I'm going to be told that I chose the wrong career. Oh, no, I didn't, because I ended up retiring. See how that worked? See how that worked? But I still remember that conversation that we had. I still remember that conversation like it happened yesterday. I got lucky. I got blessed. I've never really had a job that I wasn't more than pretty much working independent. I don't really count the military because I accepted that chain of command. But I accepted it on my terms. I accepted it on my terms, and I depended on my God-given skills to function in that environment. And I functioned so well that I retired. So after leaving that military, the only jobs that I have had is independent contract. I have sold on eBay and Amazon. I can't count the number of independent contract jobs that I have had after leaving the military. And the only thing close that I came to was working as a security officer. But most of those jobs, I worked by myself. So I really never worked for a business, for the most part, other than security officer. And that was part-time. That was only part-time on my terms again. I decided how many days a week that I wanted to work. So I can't pretend that I understand what folks are going through, because I have not gone through that. I made every effort to be an independent worker. I do not do well with folks telling me what to do. I understood that. So I understood that about myself growing up. My mother told me, my mother had many conversations with me, that she never liked folks telling her what to do. So me and her sat down many a days and had conversations about that. She said, well, the way around that is to be 5 steps ahead so nobody don't have to tell you what to do. You take the initiative to do what you know need to be done without being told. Because I don't like someone telling me what to do. So how I got around that was to take the initiative before that person had to tell me what to do. So I have not really worked for anyone for the most part. I started my own business in 2003 as an independent contract business. So I have purposely chose to primarily do independent contract work because I don't do well with someone telling me what to do. I am a self-motivator. I know how to take initiative. I know how to do what need to be done without someone telling me to do it. So I understand my flaw. My flaw is that I do not want anyone telling me what to do. I think God blessed each one of us into the world with skills and talents. That's a gift from God. That is a special gift from God, that each human being is blessed with skills and talents, and they should have ownership and authority over their skills and talents to some extent. If they cannot have total control and ownership and authority over their skills and talents, they should have some amount of authority and ownership of their skills, like those NFL players and those NBA players, those actors, those musicians, those educators. Every human being is born with skills and talents, and they deserve to have ownership and authority over their existence. But evil human beings said they were not going to allow that. They were not going to permit that. So those athletes, they have to be on pins and needles that they get offered a contract so they can pursue their God-given skills and passion. They have to hold their breath and pray they get a contract from evil human beings that want control and authority over that human being's God-given abilities and skills. That's not fair. That's not fair. Why is that? Why do human beings don't feel it's right to fight for their God-given skills and talents, to have ownership and authority over their existence? That's the programming that my mother gave me. I started seeing life as an entrepreneur at 9 years old. At 9 years old, I did not even know I was an entrepreneur until I got to the 11th grade. But when I accidentally found out that I was an entrepreneur at 9 years old, that was the way my vision of the world, I saw the world through the vision of an entrepreneur. Starting at 9 years old, my mother was an entrepreneur. My family tree, bloodline, has nothing but entrepreneurs in it. I thank my mother for that. I thank my mother for helping me to understand, to have that vision, and to want to fight for that, and to want to make that a